Good evening and thanks for joining us for 41 NBC News at 11 after the Winter Olympics. I'm Ariel Schiller. Tucker has the night off. Our top story tonight at 11, as you just saw, get ready for nonstop action over the next few weeks with the Winter Olympics in full swing. Another opening ceremony is in the books for Beijing, the first city to host both summer and winter games. NBC's Liz McLaughlin is at Olympic Park with more.
Of the country.
An eye-catching but subdued opening ceremony marks the official launch of the Winter Olympics in Beijing. The Parade of Nations featuring a shirtless American Samoa flag bearer despite the 25-degree weather, and Team USA waving the stars and stripes. A sea of snowflakes, dandelion dancers, lasers and light shows, all the traditional fanfare.
Dinigir is a member of the Uyghur minority.
But a controversial ending to the ceremony, China choosing a Uyghur athlete as one of the torchbearers to light the final Olympic flame. The host country has been condemned for its treatment of the Muslim ethnic minority in Xinjiang, leading the U.S. and other nations to hold a diplomatic boycott of the Games.
This was a riposte to President Joe Biden for skipping these Olympics, and a message to the West. China won't be lectured to on human rights or on any other issue.
Politics and a pandemic overshadowing this Winter Olympics. From the Winter Olympics, I'm Liz McLaughlin, 41 NBC News.
New tonight at 11, the Bibb County Sheriff's Office makes a third arrest in connection to a murder in October. 30-year-old Eshok Taylor was taken into custody today for the homicide of 18-year-old Shamarian Chatfield at the neighborhood gas station on Napier Avenue. Taylor was interviewed by investigators and then charged with 1 count of murder and 2 counts of probation violation. He's being held without bond. Also new tonight at 11, the Bibb County Sheriff's Office is looking for an inmate who fled from Atrium Health Navicent this afternoon. 20-year-old Hakeem Romer Barrett was at the hospital for a medical issue. While using the restroom, he climbed through the ceiling to an adjacent hallway and ran from the hospital towards High Street. If you see Barrett, call the Bibb County Sheriff's Office at 478-751-7500 or Crime Stoppers at 1-877-68-CRIME. In Warner Robins, officers found an unresponsive infant inside an RV at Buc-ee's, and now the parents are facing cruelty to children and murder charges. 40-year-old Christopher Palmer of New York and 26-year-old Shelley Brooks of Waynesville, Georgia, are in the Peach County Jail. Sunday night, Warner Robins police responded to a call of a child not breathing at the Buc-ee's on Russell Parkway. Police say the 9-month-old had past and present injuries. Parents told police the infant was dropped while bathing him in the RV. Today, police say the baby died in an Atlanta hospital. The investigation is ongoing. Also in Warner Robins, a man wanted for a shooting and car theft on January 30th was taken into custody today. Police say 33-year-old Brandon Mitchell shot a man in the face in the parking lot of Atomic Tattoo on Russell Parkway and then stole a car. The victims of the shooting and car theft are okay. Mitchell is charged with aggravated battery, aggravated assault, and theft by taking. In Macon, Bibb County deputies arrest one of 2 teens wanted in connection to several shootings at 3 homes in West Macon. They arrested 17-year-old Timothy Persons Thursday for 12 counts of aggravated assault. Deputies say on January 6th, the teens fired shots at 3 separate homes along Summerhill Drive, Village Green Lane, and Virginia Avenue. No one was injured. Deputies are still searching for 18-year-old Jivan Maxwell in connection to this case. Persons' arrest led to the arrest of 3 other teens. That's because deputies say Persons was also wanted in connection to 2 shootings at a home on Mackenzie Drive on January 25th and 31st. Now Persons, along with 17-year-old Miguel Contreras, a 15-year-old and a 16-year-old, are facing 11 counts of aggravated assault. The Bibb County Sheriff's Office is also busy working 2 armed robberies, and one of them involves masked men firing shots at workers. According to the Sheriff's Office, 2 men entered through the back door of the Waffle House on Arkwright Road just before 1:30 this morning. Deputies say the men on your screen started firing shots at employees, even hitting a 20-year-old worker in the abdomen. After taking money from the register, they left out the back door. The injured employee was taken to the hospital and is listed in stable condition. And last night, deputies say a man with a gun robbed a Metro PCS cell phone store on Pionono Avenue. The man entered the store just after 7 p.m. and demanded money from the store employees. After taking cash, he ran away. No one was injured in this case. If you have any information on either of these armed robberies, call Crime Stoppers. That number is 1-877-68-CRIME. Down in Crisp County, a former school system employee is in custody, accused of child molestation. The Crisp County Sheriff's Office arrested 28-year-old Lorenzo Davis Jr. on Thursday. He's charged with 2 counts of aggravated child molestation. The Sheriff's Office says additional charges are pending. The Crisp County Sheriff's Office also arrests 5 after a theft investigation leads to a drug bust. The Sheriff's Office says purses were stolen from Crisp Regional Hospital on Tuesday. The next day, deputies arrested William Higdon and charged him for stealing the purses. The purse thefts then led investigators to a home in Cordell. That's where they arrested Thomas and Kylie Willard, Mark Newell, and Juliet Kraft. Twiggs County deputies need your help finding a missing man. They say Noah Richmond was reported missing on January 24th by family members. He was last seen around the Huddle House on Okmulgee East Boulevard in Macon. Richmond is 5'10" and weighs around 200 pounds. If you have seen Richmond or know where he is, call the Twiggs County Sheriff's Office at 478-945-3357. A 4-year-old is safe tonight after being taken by his mother. You probably noticed the Amber Alert sent out this morning for a 4-year-old Braden Dobbs. Investigators say he was taken by Anitrite Dobbs when she showed up, with another man at the home of her estranged husband, Lee Dobbs. After a struggle, Lee Dobbs was shot. Law enforcement later located Dobbs in Douglas County. She's charged with aggravated assault and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. In other local news, more families in Baldwin County will have better access to high-speed internet. This comes after a grant announcement this week from Governor Brian Kemp. According to county leaders, the funding will allow East Baldwin County to receive internet services. Previously, the area was not serviced by any internet service provider. Also, internet providers are working on a fiber construction project to provide faster internet for other customers. Baldwin County Manager Carlos Tobar tells us the pandemic has proven the need for internet access.
I know how important it is to have fiber optic cable for remote learning and for college students who are trying to save money. And they want to stay at home, but different universities are offering online programs, and having fast internet speeds is important for that purpose.
Baldwin County says communities should already see service providers out working, but the process will take some time before faster internet services are available. Also in Baldwin County, Georgia College held its 45th annual Regional Science and Engineering Fair. Middle and high school students from 12 counties participated. Their science or engineering projects were on display and open to the public this afternoon. Many of the students participating say this was not their first time attending, and others say they're now leaving the event with a love for science.
I am interested in it because of all the problem-solving steps that takes to, come up with a project and to know that it actually benefits you.
The winner of the fair will get an all-expense-paid trip to the International Science Fair. The award ceremony started at 5. It was recorded, and you can watch that by heading to 41NBC.com and looking for this story. In other school news, Central Georgia Technical College is exposing high school students to technical aviation careers. Students from Bibb, Houston, Monroe, and Jones counties took a tour of the school's Aerospace and Sustainment Center on Avondale Mill Road. The students learned how to read blueprints and work on plane structures. Central Georgia Tech offers dual enrollment for high schoolers, and students are work ready after a year of training.
So they're completing a stackable credential for the college. They're also becoming a pathway completer on the high school side, and they really are career ready when they complete the one-year program.
Central Georgia Tech plans to grow its program to schools across Middle Georgia. For more information, students and parents can talk with their school guidance counselor. Across the nation tonight, sharp comments coming from former Vice President Pence, declaring, quote, "President Trump is wrong." It's his strongest criticism yet of the former president's assertion that Pence could have overturned the 2020 election results. NBC's Kristen Walker reports.
In a stunning public break with the man who was once his boss, former Vice President Mike Pence today rebuked former President Trump for pressuring him to overturn the results of the 2020 election.
President Trump is wrong. I had no right to overturn the election.
That fiery criticism comes after just this week, Mr. Trump said about Pence he could have overturned the election.
And frankly, there is no idea more un-American than the notion that any one person could choose the American president.
The vice president could not have overturned the election. Still, Mr. Trump continues to push these false claims.
The 2020 election was rigged. And everyone knows it.
All of it happening as Republicans are pushing back on the two fiercest GOP critics of Mr. Trump in Congress. Today, the Republican National Committee voted to censure Representatives Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger for joining the committee investigating January 6th when rioters stormed the Capitol. Every other Republican boycotted the committee, which is made up of virtually all Democrats.
This is a pure political committee. I think those two individuals would have a hard time ever coming back to Congress.
As for Pence's comments, they appear to be the clearest sign yet he's seriously considering a run in 2024. Meanwhile, a Trump aide tonight telling NBC News Pence's comments are disingenuous and that Pence is just trying to become relevant.
Still ahead on 41 NBC News at 11, Macon-Bibb County leaders are holding a town hall next week. Find out about what's coming up next. But first, knowing CPR could save a life. If you're interested in taking classes, we have details after the break. And we are down to the last few high school basketball games this season. Shaz Pirani will give us the highlights from tonight's games later in sports. When it comes to heart health, knowing CPR could save a life. The EMS training coordinator for Atrium Health Navicent says once someone has collapsed, it only takes 4 to 6 minutes before permanent brain damage takes place. And someone with CPR training can greatly increase the chances of someone surviving before EMS arrives.
Just do something, because if you don't do something, the chances of us being able to get these patients back is almost nothing. And we need the community to get involved and help us with this.
If you're interested in taking CPR classes, you can visit the American Heart Association's website. Now it's time to get a look at our weather. Here's 41 NBC's AccuWeather Chief Meteorologist Cecilia Reeves. Cecilia, I think it's a perfect day probably to take a CPR class. It was pretty cold outside today.
Yeah, definitely a good time to stay inside. We will see the sunshine returning for the weekend, though, and that's really what's important.
Welcome back. Macon-Bibb County leaders want to talk traffic issues and pedestrian safety. Commissioners Al Tillman and Mallory Jones are holding a town hall meeting on Monday. The county engineering department will give updates on street projects, and leaders want feedback from you. Several streets will be discussed, including Log Cabin Drive and Ridge Avenue. The town hall is Monday at 5:30 p.m. at the Government Center on Poplar Street. And the final games of high school basketball season are heating up. 41 NBC's Shaz Pirani is in studio to tell us the highlights from tonight's games. Shaz?